Hey everybody, welcome to the channel and thank you so much for joining me for a visit to Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area, which is located about 15 miles west of the fabulous city of Las Vegas, Nevada. If I sound a little bit under the weather, you are absolutely right, but the show must go on. As we head into the conservation area here, Red Rock Canyon is not a national park, so we will not do a summary, but we will look at a map to get an overview of this location, which consists of a 13-mile scenic drive, which takes about 2 hours if you stop at all the overlooks. In addition, there are quite a few hiking trails. The 4 main trails will be the Calico Tanks Trail, Turtlehead Peak, Icebox Canyon, and Pine Creek. Calico Tanks, Icebox, and Pine Creek can all be completed in one day as long as you get started early. Turtlehead Peak is a little bit more strenuous hike, and that's going to take you all day. So that's something to be aware of if you want to try to complete all of those hikes. Getting back on the scenic drive, if you found any of that information helpful, and if you end up enjoying the video, I'd really appreciate it if you would please give me a like, and please consider subscribing. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that I had a little bit of a technology issue, so we're only going to hike on the Calico Tanks Trail, and then we will stop at Observation Point, which is the highest point along the scenic drive, to take in some views as the sun sets. But make sure you stick around until the end of the video, because I have 2 really great tips for you if you decide to visit this location. Before we get on the trail, let's first stop at Calico Tanks 1 for a look at the Red Rocks, which give the Red Rock National Conservation Area its name. Now we'll get started on the Calico Tanks Trail, which is the most popular trail at Red Rocks. You'll see why when we get to the end of the trail. The prominent gray mountain there in the distance as we're hiking along the trail, that is Turtlehead Peak. As I mentioned, the hike out there is very strenuous, and I think it takes about 8 hours to reach the summit. We'll continue along the trail here. This hike isn't especially difficult in cooler weather, but there is one area where you do need to use both hands to climb up a short section of rock as you kind of get to the end of the hike. But altogether, this is a really fun hike, and you get a lot of great scenery. Now, calico refers to the colorful patchwork appearance of the rocks here, but what is a tank? A tank is essentially a water pocket that collects water in a dry desert environment, and these can be really important water sources for animals in these harsh conditions. This area was created by the Keystone Thrust Fault. Essentially, plate tectonics shifted the landscape and folded older layers of ancient seabed above younger layers about 65 million years ago. The red rocks are the younger rocks here, and the gray and pale rocks are the older rocks. As we get to the end of the hike here, I was a little bit taken aback by having to climb up some rocks, so I didn't record that section where I had to climb up, but you are treated to an amazing view of the city of Las Vegas, which you can sort of see there in the distance. I did bring my mirrorless camera with the telephoto lens with me on this hike, but unfortunately it malfunctioned. So I couldn't get you some of those nice telephoto shots that I really like to include so much. I apologize for that. So now that we finished up the hike, that's going to bring us to my recommendation for Red Rock Canyon. And I'm going to give you those 2 great tips that I mentioned. I'm actually going to give you 3, but I'm going to give you the 2 that you really need. Red Rock Canyon is probably the second best thing you can do if you visit Las Vegas. So I recommend it without any reservation whatsoever. The scenery here is amazing, and if you're into hiking, you can go on some great hikes. The 2 major tips I'm going to have for you is number 1, the America the Beautiful Interagency Pass is accepted here. So that will cover your admission fee of $20. In addition, reservations are required during the winter months between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. and those cost $2 and must be made in advance. However, the gates to the scenic drive actually open at 6 a.m. So in that window between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., you don't need a reservation. So if you combine that with the National Park Pass, you can visit Red Rock Canyon completely free. So now, I hope those 2 tips were worth sticking around to the end of the video. I'm going to give you a 3rd bonus tip, and that is, it's Las Vegas. It's the desert. It does get very hot here in the summertime, and they'll actually close down many of the trails to protect people from heat stroke and stuff like that. So if you come here, you definitely want to visit during the cooler months. To close, we'll take in some views of the surrounding area with the Rainbow Mountains, the tallest of which is Mount Wilson there in the distance. And you have some incredible colors there with the clouds as the sun is set. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks and take care. Bye.